welcome to the
Hi
BYOG.
everyone. Welcome to the official kickoff event for BYOG 2022. We are very excited for this year's event. So to tell you in brief, this event will showcase the themes for this year. We also have some of the past winners to share their wisdom with you, and we have some of the members from the jury also share some tips. So sit back and enjoy the whole live stream while we share the themes and also some tips from the jury itself.
Yep. Yeah, again, it's been a whole year since we had last BYOG, and I guess everyone is as excited as we are. And to start with this year, we have broken all the records. We had till now crossed the 500 mark, and we have more than 500 jammers this year. So, yeah, it's going to be
Woohoo!
huge, I guess.
Yep. So I think if I'm not wrong, this is probably the biggest so far, as Vivek mentioned, in terms of registrations. We still have people signing up, and of course, you can still sign up by, until the jam ends, which is on 28th August, 8 p.m. So feel free to, let your friends know, your enemies know that there's still time to sign up, and while you participate. And to kick off, we'll also like to share some of the bits from previous BYOG. So, Vivek, you want to take this?
Yep, sure. So, yeah. So everyone knows like so BYJ is the India's oldest game jam, and it's the longest running game jam. It's I think we have crossed more than 10 years now, and started by two guys, Kinshuk and Yadu, and since then it's been hosted almost every year without a break, and it's it's the oldest game jam that India has, and every year, almost every year, it's been hosted along with the IGDC. And if you know about the IGDC, it's India Game Developer Conference, which happens to be in like this year is happening on November 3 to 5th in Hyderabad, and it's also one of the biggest gaming conference that happens in India. And if you want to know about more about BYOG, we also please do check out all the information about BYOG in the BYOG.in website, and we'll share some of this year's rules and regulations and the format that we have this year and the jury that we have in this today, and we'll also reveal the theme at around 8 p.m. And yeah, let's kick this BYOG 2022 and go. So, as I said, we have this year also we are doing BYOG in association with the IGDC, and IGDC is online. IGDC is happening offline this year. It has been happening online for past 2 years. So this is a chance to meet fellow game developers physically in Hyderabad, and booking is already have started. You can go to the igdc.com and book your tickets. Then apart from this, we have been also running Gamedev.in for some time now, and it has also become the largest community of the Indian game developers on Discord server. And yeah, Chirag, you want to share more about Gamedev.in, what it is and what we do?
Sure. So, chances are, if you are watching this stream, you might be aware of Gamedev.in already through the Discord server. But for people who are new, it's an initiative run by, game devs like you who wanted to have more of a community. We wanted to have people, feel connected, they have a community around them. So, in short, it's mostly we are active on the Discord server where you can join the Discord on discord.gamedev.in. This is where you will find about 3,000 game devs from India, to chat about, share your progress on the projects, get feedback, maybe even find teammates. And this is also where you will find all the activity and communication regarding BYOG. along with people, who are participating, people who need a team, and so on. And we have a bunch of different initiatives in the server actually. So to start with, we have a weekly devs, casual hangout by the name of Coffee House, where we just meet every week, talk about games, game dev, we showcase our projects. We also have a campfire, which is like every quarter on a bigger scale. We try to meet people, have this gathering where we divide people into groups and in a way to help them meet new people. And of course, BYOG is one of the initiatives which is run by Gamedev.in. Apart from that, we have from time to time, we try our best to do the best for the community, to connect the community and, have this network of game devs. So feel free to check out Gamedev.in. There are multiple ways to, keep in touch using the website, Discord server, and you will find every other initiative that we run on the website. With that said, I think we also have some of the past winners on this uh, call with us, right, Vivek?
Yeah, and when they are joining, like I think we'll need a moment before they join. But
Hello.
we already, our jury have started joining this session.
Hi, Kiran, and hi, Diptoman, Abhishek.
I
Okay, so we have Ayush who has joined, and yeah, okay. So last year we had like the first three people. The winners we had last year was the game called Reset, Blue Guy, and Orbits. And today we have with us Ayush. Okay, hello Ayush.
Um,
Are you there, Ayush?
I'm still on my way, but I can connect with you all on call.
Okay,
Oh,
Ayush,
wow.
great. So Ayush, can you
As long
tell?
as you're not driving, Ayush.
No, I'm not the one.
Yeah, good.
Okay. So yeah, Ayush, can you tell us about the game that you made last year and like what was the process and you got the second prize and just tell us about like were you expecting it to be the time you're going to win or was it just a luck? Just tell us about your process of last year.
Oh, there was a lot of luck involved, I feel. But so the theme that I chose last year was two views, and initially I didn't have any ideas on what I can do with two views, but I thought it's an interesting one. So I just went with an idea where you had a conflict between the programmer and the designer. So them having two different views about how a game should work, or how what the mechanics of the game should be, and that kind of happened accidentally while I was trying to uh, make a simple. I was trying to make a mechanic work where you had two different kind of game layouts, one which was top down and one which was platformer. I was trying to make that work out, and it struck to me, well, this could be something completely different, and then it changed to what it was finally. So it happened a lot by luck, but I feel with game jams that happens a lot. The process wasn't any different, although I found a way which works with, for me at least, which is when I don't have anything or any sort of an idea, I just think of a name for the game, and somehow it should relate to the theme that is. So like for a game jam, a theme was no ammo, and I made a game called No Ammo Left Behind, which was a puzzle game about you grouping ammos together and setting them off to a belt, and that ended up winning the jam. I don't know how, again, luck maybe, God knows, but yeah, if you don't win, don't be sad. It's I feel there's luck plays a crucial role, but what's important is that you had an idea and you made it work.
Okay, very well said, Ayush. So Ayush believes in luck. We also have another member, Priyank, who was third in the last BYOG.
Yeah.
Priyank,
Hey guys.
you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Priyank. So yeah, the game orbits. Like, just tell us your process. Like, did you came up with the idea in the first go as soon as you saw the theme, or it took you time? Just
It's
take
a
us to the
yeah.
process. Yeah.
So it's a weird story for Orbits. Actually, I started. I was not going to take part in BYOG, but on the second day, I got this idea. So the theme was pretty simple, minimalism. So I went with that. That's what I make basically, minimalistic games. So I got an idea with just a single interaction. So there is not much effort in terms of what you call development as well, as you just need a single input for the game. So that made it easier. So the whole game was made on around like 6 to 7 hours in the single day, in the final day actually. So yeah, that's the overall idea. So I wasn't planning on taking part in the BYG, but then I just got a random idea and I just tried to incorporate that.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, are you participating this year, Priyank and Ayush?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. So people, we do have a challenge this year.
I
Not
am
what
not.
everyone was expecting to hear, the newer participants at least.
Okay.
I am not.
Okay.
So you
Ayush
guys.
is not participating. Okay. So one less competition. Okay. Okay. So yeah, moving on. Chirag, would you like to introduce our jury panel?
Yes. So this year, because last year we received almost close to 150 games, and the jury did an excellent job, helping us go through these 150 games, and we decided that if we have to do with the similar scale or even with a better scale next year, we definitely need more people, to help us with the jury. And this time we've almost doubled the size of the jury, and we got some interesting people agreeing to help us with the evaluation. Uh, I mean, right now they are all excited because they don't really expect a lot of games, but once they get to play 200 games, I think that's where the excitement will probably stop and they'll never agree to do this again. So yeah, make the best of this jury because you might not see them again next year. They'll just completely deny the request. But yeah, for this year, we've had some great people help us with the evaluation in no particular order. We have some of them are here in this call, and we'll talk to them as well after the introduction. But in no particular order, we have Himanshu Vanwani, who is the co-founder of Zigma Games, an indie studio in from India. We have Huzaifa Arab, who's also the co-founder and CTO at Hypernova Interactive, another indie mid-sized studio creating ambitious title from India. We have Diptoman Mukherjee, senior technical gameplay designer from Coalition Xbox Studios. So Diptoman actually has a long history of with BYOG. He has been dominating. He dominated BYOG for about 3 to 4 years when he participated as a indie developer, and he ended up winning all of them. But luckily for participants, this time he's not participating. He's actually judging the process, and yeah. So we have also Guillaume Benoit, who's head of game design department from a university called GameStop in France. And we have Medini Bhatt, a producer at Zynga. We have Jitesh Panchal, the creative director working on Tropico 7. We have Ishan Manjrekar, who's the senior game designer at Cybo. We have Kiran Thakkar, game designer at CD Projekt Red. So, but don't bug her with the cyberpunk issues and everything. She's not relevant. So yeah, we also have Sohini Mehti, who's the senior game designer at Vuga. Vikram Khazanchi, game designer at Immersive Arts. And last but not the least, we have Abhishek Arora, who's graphics programmer at Naughty Dog. So thanks, guys. Thanks again, and thanks for agreeing to do this, and thanks again for agreeing to be a part of this call to kick off this event. And we love this opportunity to talk to you guys about getting to know about your pointers, and since you have a wide array of wisdom to share. So we'll use this opportunity and also the participant in the call to, learn some bits from you. So Vivek, all yours.
Yeah, so just before we reveal the theme, we'll have some chat with our jury panel, and uh, we have a lot of people joining in on our YouTube stream, and a lot of I seems like a participants, and they're already asking questions. So we'll open up a small AMA session with our jury from the participants of this year, and they'll throw some questions on you. How you're going to judge? What will be your preferences? Well, we'll take that. And so yeah, everyone in the comment section, feel free to ask anything related to the jury process and about the BYOG and tips and anything that is specific you want to ask. And meanwhile, I have a question with our current jurors. Like Chirag already addressed that one of our jury has already participated in a game jam and has won lots of awards. But a very basic question, if you can answer, is why you should participate in a jam. Let's forget about prizes, let's forget about making friends, but what's one thing that's you cannot get if you can't participate in a game jam? uh, Himanshu, would you like to start with this?
Yeah, I mean, from the experience you get, the in this small time means a lot. You will learn a lot of things. It'll be like a crash course for you. But I would also like to say that take it light, take it as a fun activity, and don't get disheartened if it doesn't come in the top five, if it doesn't make it to the top list. Take learnings from it. You will keep making games. You have to make, like, you are in this industry, so you will be making games for a long time, and this will give you a great catapult. It will give you a great experience. So yeah.
Yep, well said, Himanshu. Ishan, would you like to take on this?
I haven't been part of a lot of game jams, but I have been part of being mentored, like being the mentor and all of it. So it's always fun for me to be on this side. But I also, because I get to do the judging part of it, so I like that part. But I think it's fun. Like this is a opportunity where you get to make your own games, because everyone coming into gaming as such just wants to make their own thing. So use this as an opportunity to do whatever you want. Of course, you can't do whatever you want. That's why we have the theme for it. So stick to the theme, do whatever you want, and have fun. And think about what you can do in 2 days. Don't go overboard. All that. So I'll have fun judging, and Chirag has already scared me with the number of games that I have to judge. So we'll see. All of us would be like that, I guess, right now. So
Yeah, yeah. I hope I hope the numbers increases, the submission numbers, but we'll make our best to like get you easier process for the jury. Yeah. So, Kiran, would you like to answer like why someone should participate in a game jam? What does the person gains out of it?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So initially, I think for people who are beginners into game industry, it's like a trailer for them to a movie. So within those like 48 hours, you're getting like the entire feel of what like making a game in real industry is like. You know, the time management, like syncing with the team, and like coming up with art assets and ideas and everything. It's just the time is 48 hours, and sometimes we make games in like 10 years. But the experience is almost similar. And for people who have already been in the industry, like for example, I participated in Game Jam like a month ago, and for me, it was like I have been working on one game for like a long time, and this is like a refresher for me. Like, you know, how you just like go and grab like beer or something. Like this was like that for me. So game jams are really fun, like in general. So everyone should participate because it gets you thinking, and like you come up with so many different ideas, and you never know like what would come up in this like 48 hours. So have fun, and I'm gonna have fun like playing all the games. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Interesting.
Chirag.
I have a follow-up question to that, since you obviously have a lot of experience as a game designer and now you work at CTPR. and I'm assuming there are a lot of internal game jams happening as well. What are your tips and tricks? How do you think it's different from when you participate in a internal game jam versus when you do a public event like these? And what are your tips in general on how to make the most out of it?
Actually, the game jam I participate was the internal game jam, and I think the difference was people were more skilled. So the level of polish that you make like the game with is like different. But I think in general the process is like very similar. All you know is that you know how to manage time better. Like you know that like rather than like spending and wasting time on just thinking and changing ideas, you directly start coding like the initial like small mechanic, like just moving blocks and seeing like it working, because you can't waste time on thinking an idea and then like after a day you start working on it and you realize that it's not going to work. So I think that's the only thing that's different. Whereas when you're working at a company, people are confident of their skills, so you don't have to waste time on that. So in the internal game jam, we spent more time on designing the game rather than worrying about like the implementation. So I think that's the only difference that's there.
Fair enough. And as a designer, since some of the roles here are designer, I would like to start with Karen. And as a designer, what would you say is the best way to, make the most of a game jam where your primary skill is game design? Would you like wear other hats, try out other hats, or how do you contribute as a designer? Kiran, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, you lagged. Can you say again?
Yeah, so as a designer for a game jam, if your primary role, like there are a lot of people here who participate as, their primary roles are game design. So as a game designer, what is your recommendation and tips on, how do you make the most as a game designer in a game jam? Do you wear other hats? Do you try out other things? Or what is it that you try to do?
I think as a game designer, you do everything. Like because even in the company, like you are like giving feedback to an artist, like telling the developer that this is how we want. So in a game jam, it's like you come up with ideas for the initial one day and like get like all the developers to start working while you're again like rethinking the looking at the progress and constantly changing design on the go. And if you're sure of the design and you feel like the direction you're going in is good, then you start like picking up where the work is like lagging behind. If you feel like the art is slow, you start like picking up PNGs and like making that like jugadu work. And otherwise it's more of like like you do coding. So it really depends on your skill sets, because as a
Right,
designer you also have few other skill sets. So it's just basically
right.
like you're everywhere.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Abhishek, we'd love to know from you since you also come from a AAA studio, Naughty Dog. How is the process different from, you? I'm sure you have internal game jams too. How's your experience with them? Like, what are your tips?
We actually don't have internal game jams at Naughty Dog,
Oh,
and yeah, that doesn't happen much. And but we and I haven't been in a game jam for years, so this is going to be exciting. Just seeing so many cool games, so many people working on different ideas, and I feel like yeah. So with a AAA game, you're looking at a massive undertaking that's taken years, and it often like is a delicate balance of risk and being able to innovate versus what you think will work and actually sell. So seeing the innovation that comes from a game jam is amazing, and I strongly feel like the mobile game market or simpler games are where a lot of innovation is born, and this can happen from game jams. I mean, Super Hot came from a game jam. Uh, Goat Simulator came from a game jam. So like, there's a lot of cool stuff that people can do in a few hours and then build on it later. Or even if you just want to have fun for the duration of a game jam, that's great. Yeah. So as far as advice goes from the few game jams I've participated in way before, is I'd just say two things. Firstly, yeah, there's find the hook or mechanic. It doesn't even have to be a mechanic if you're more of an aesthetic driven person. Just make sure you know what's the hook for your game and go all in on that, because there's a limited amount of time. You don't want to spread yourself wide. You want to go narrow and deep on that one or two things that make your game special. And also, if you're working in a team, or even if you're working by yourself and wearing multiple hats, make sure you're integrating frequently and checking what the final product looks like. A lot of people tend to work by themselves in isolation for hours, and then it does not all, trust me, it does not all magically come together at the end if you're not putting it together, testing how the whole thing works as a unit.
Very well. Yeah, that's some great advice, focusing on the core and also making sure that you test and iterate in between and not just wait for the end. Very well said. I think everyone's very interested to also learn from Diptoman now. Diptoman, you dominated the BYOG scene back in the days, and you've now officially, I'd say, retired as a jammer, and now you're evaluating, right? So now's the time when people are dying to know what was the secret sauce. How did you do it? Did you bribe the jury? Did you have some special, skills that you utilize? What is it?
Yeah, I only participated twice. That was last time was in 2014. It was so long ago. It's really amazing to see like how far this has come and with so many participants. But yeah, I think the hardest part of making a game is actually finishing it, and this is an excuse for you to finish something. Like Abhishek said, like you pick one idea, you stick to it. It's an exercise in scoping. You don't want to overscope. You just want to try out your one thing, and see how that goes. I still jam a lot. I'm not quite retired. Just not in BYOG, but it's the same every time. We get a theme. We pick an idea or like what we want to make in like a few hours because we spend most of our time implementing it. Because whenever you're implementing your one thing, a lot of things are going to go wrong, and it's like, oh, this is not working. That's not working. So it's important to keep a lot of time for iterating on that. Um, yeah. So as you keep doing this, you'll get like better at scoping things that you want to try, and it's an iterative process. So you'll gradually get better at it. But yeah, so just remember to have fun while doing it. That's the most important thing after all. Forget all the prizes, because in the end, we're gonna have a finished product to show people, and especially if you're starting out, like it's good for your portfolio. But yeah, that's all I had to say.
Yeah.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
Yeah, well said. So, okay, so someone asked this in the comment section, and this is a very good question. It's like someone asked this in a funny way that like, so we have people from Naughty Dog and the CD Projekt Red. So will there be a bias on RPGs? But I'll just add on to this question is that so we have jury, and like every jury must have a specific genre that they like. So how do they overcome those bias while evaluating a game in a like submitted in a game jam? So do you think like do you guys like uh, separate it out like your bias, or like even like your bias is always there in the jury process?
I guess I'll go first here. Yeah, firstly, yeah, we don't make RPGs at Naughty Dog. It's more story-driven single-player games. Quite the opposite of CDPR, which is very open-ended and non-linear. But also, ironically, the kinds of games I like more are open-world RPGs, and that's exactly what I told my interviewer when I got a job. So it's very different from sometimes the games you work on are not necessarily the games you like to play, but you contribute towards them nonetheless in some effective way. And yeah, I know that's aside from the point, but getting back to the actual question. So I tend to like games with stronger mechanics more than story. Like Doom Eternal was my game of the year 2020. Sorry, Last of Us Part 2. But yeah, it's so I tend to like those games, and let's say I understand that a lot of people tend to like more narrative heavy and visually strong games, and I think when evaluating those, I try to understand what the intent of the developer was, and if they're conveying their intent very well, then that's good enough for me. I'm not gonna say just because I like insane game mechanics. I'm not gonna put down a game that has a very, very poignant message, but is conveyed through just walking around and seeing messages on a wall.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Abhishek mentioned. Like, in fact, I think after working for some time in the industry, that's what you learn. Like, you need to put aside your personal bias because, like, for example, I'm a designer. So, as a designer, I need to look at what people are liking and what people want, and that's what we are giving them. So, it's not actually my personal bias because I am someone. Okay, when I was actually getting in the company, I did mention them that I don't like AAA games. So I thought I would never get in, but I did get in. So I'm someone who likes indie games, which is like very weird and wacky and like different from one another because I just like experiences in general because that's what games give us. So they're all like individual personal experiences. Some game would be like really visually rich and like storytelling. Like this war of mine is so different from let's say Journey or like some like different small games, but they are amazing. Like and they are like these small action packed like delivering like different experience, and that's what we are looking forward to. And I think game jam is like the best place to look at all the different varieties of games. So I don't think I'm going to have any bias about like based on genre because I would love exploring like different genres.
Ishan?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say I will be super unbiased, but the only bias I will have is how close you are, or uh, how do you represent the theme? Like whatever the theme is, I'm super excited right now to know what the theme is. So it's always interesting to see different people interpret and see the theme differently because you will always have something in your head, but people have like different ideas, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm sorry for a lot of distraction around me. There is party happening around, and I'm hanging out over here. So that's how excited I am for the team.
Okay. Yeah. Dip2?
Hey, I think like I've been in AAA for a while now, and I think a lot of the good designers I work with, they're good at taking their bias out because otherwise, like if you just play the kind of games that you're making, like you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into like making similar kind of things. So yeah, I will try to be unbiased. It's impossible to say you are going to be unbiased because there is inherent bias that is in all of us. But that's an active thing that we work on.
Himanshu? And Himanshu,
Yeah.
because you have been jury for the second time, someone also asked like, why do you like to judge BYOG so much?
Oh, last time I loved playing all the games. I loved the like how they used themes. Some games used two, three, like they combined all three themes, and the products were like they were as polished that they could actually be in the market, like some of them. So I really enjoyed playing games last year and thought that why not give it another shot this year. And Chirag asked me out, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm in. So for me, also theme works the most actually, and the usage of theme and how they utilize that theme and come up with very unique ideas. Sometimes boundaries and limitations are very good for the game because you can't just make whatever you want to make. Sometimes limitations do help in shaping up the game, and I think that's where the theme comes in. That helps you shape up your game and put them forward in a particular direction. So yeah, for me, theme works the most, and I play games all across the genre. So I won't be biased with any genre.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Right.
we also have Sohini with us. Can you hear us, Sohini?
Yes. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hi, Sohini.
hello. Nice to meet all of you.
Thanks for joining in.
No worries.
Yeah.
Um, if we are still talking about the topic of if I will be biased,
Yeah.
I feel like if, as game designers of the industry, if we were biased, then we would all be in one company. Probably will never leave that company and will be working there. But if you're in this industry, you have to have an open mind. uh if it were to me, like I would be in a fashion game for the rest of my life, but then I would just be a designer sitting somewhere and doing the same thing all over. But because genres matter so much to me, I want to explore different mechanics. That's why this game industry exists, right? Like you can explore, you can see new things. So I definitely don't think like sticking to one genre or having a bias is something any of us would have anyway. But yeah, as everyone said, like theme is very important, and I will be judging more on how relatable your prototype is to the theme. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And one last question is, does art overtakes mechanics in a game jam? So if you have a very good looking game and you have another game which don't have a good looking art but has a very nice mechanics, so does art play a role where it can get more points?
Can I start?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I think art is very subjective. Even a 2D, very minimalist art can look great in front of a 3D art. I would say it's a lot more about right colors, right palettes, right look, but it hardly matters for the game jam. I think what matters most is that 30-second core loop of gameplay, which actually tells you that okay, this game is fun, and that 30 seconds is enough to actually to judge that okay, this game is fun and this can be expanded upon, and this can actually be a game. So art is very subjective, as I said earlier. So yeah.
Okay, anyone else?
I'm gonna say that it depends. It's not a binary thing. It's like, hey, your art's better and this guy's loop is better, so like they'll get that. Some of like the best game jam games I've made are like ones with minimal game loops, honestly, and it's a lot more focused on art because it's about like the experience you want to give in a game jam. Like, is it if you're trying to give like a more gamey game, that's fine. If you're trying to give it's a walking simulator and you want to tell a narrative, that's also fine. Like it depends on what you're trying to achieve in the end.
Okay, I can also say something about it. So when it comes to game jam, it's all about how you're combining these elements and what's your strong suit, and you have to use that to your advantage. So if you're good at art, like for sure, go ahead and make like like visually like amazing looking game. Like for example, something like Gris, like it's visually like so nice that that's the USP. Then there's another game like Super Meat Boy, for example. It's like literally this box of cube which is just like made to look like good, but it's so much fun to play. And then there's Cuphead, which is like combination of art, mechanics, and everything. And then there's another game called Babasu, which is like there's no art like practically in it. So it's all about how you are using the theme and what are your like advantages and skills.
Yeah, like Diptoma and Kiran said, building on that, there's a lot that goes into a game and an experience and what a creator intends to convey. So even if there's no catchy mechanic, if a lot of the best feelings I've gotten from the game are because of some decision by an art director or a cinematographer to position a camera a certain way, give a sense of scale of this huge world out there, or just focusing on this one central piece of art that is conveying a certain emotion. And I feel like unique art styles for games are a very cool thing. Like if I don't know if you played a recent game, Rollerdrome, which just came out very recently. It's got a really unique art style, and that's part of why I really enjoy it. It's the answer, like people have said before, is it depends. It's and like Kiran said, it's a combination of things. You need to, if your experience relies on the art style, or if there's a clear intent coming from the art style, then we will see it. And that's it is important in a way. But again, focus on one or two core things. Don't if you have a dedicated artist and programmer, designer, fine, go on all gears. But like definitely don't compromise one for the other if it makes sense for your design.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Those are some great points. I think we'll just have one more question, a very popular question from people watching, and before we reveal the theme. So this gets brought up like very often, even outside game jams. Like to specifically address a game jam problem, you are making a game in 2 days. How is it that you scope out the game? How do you scope out the idea? How do you decide what is important, what is not? Because 2 days are not a lot of, there's not a lot of time to focus on everything. So what are your tips on scoping out the games, and especially for game jams, to focus on the interesting bits and, ignore the other bits? So we'll start with Himanshu.
I would say start when you have your ideation done, just focus on that 30-second core loop and then polish it. Even if it's just one level, just polish it as you can and leave rest of the things. You don't have to make 10 levels in the game. If that one level is good enough, it will convey that okay, there's a design, there's a usage of good game design, there's a good gameplay. So just focus on that.
Ishan, do you want to add something?
Yeah, scoping is the most difficult part. Also, when you work in the industry for your games as well. So this is the best challenge you can have. And like Kiran mentioned earlier, with the designer's role being different, and you can do a lot of different things. Scoping is one of the things that you will have to like for lack of better word, kill your best ideas as well. Or like you have to be brutal with your ideas. You have like think about the theme. At the end of the day, you have 2 days to present something which sticks by the theme. So think about that, and then you do everything else. Anything that doesn't fit the theme, or anything that you think will be extra, remove it, add it at a later stage. So think of building it in chunks which are more actionable. Like if halfway through the jam, if you have your core thing ready to try it out, you're actually good. Everything else is now extra fillers and decoration and all that you can do. So think about the core, as Himanshu said. Think about the core experience and think about what you're doing that core experience with the theme. That's the least you want, and anything else is extra. So be very brutal in cutting off your ideas, because if you're interested in working in the industry later, that's what you'll be doing most of the times. So this is a great experience for that. Go ahead.
Very well said. Diptuman, you want to add?
Sure. I just want to add on what Ishan said. I think the theme is your blessing in disguise, because anything that doesn't fit the theme, you can just cut off. It's also a matter of like if you're trying new things. So like if you're trying out say a new genre and you don't know how like the programming for that will go, you probably don't want to like add on too much. Whether as let's say you've made something similar before, like movement mechanics or something, you already know that you can do this. You can probably reuse code, so like you can scope a bit more. That's really on you. Like it just comes from experience.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Um, Kiran, you want to take this?
Yeah. So I think first of all, you need to come up with what you want to do and what is your USP. And once you have narrowed down on like this is gonna be your hook, then you start like setting milestones for like the 48 hours you have, and consider that you have only 35 hours, and then see like how much like what percentage of work you want to cover like every like 5 hours or something. And let's say if story is your USP, don't waste time on animation and showing the story. You can just have like blocks and like you're clicking and like doing next, like something like that. So whatever's your USP, stick to it, and then like slice out everything else that's like outside of it.
Fair enough. Abhishek?
Well, everyone's done a brilliant job of already highlighting things. I don't think there's much I can add. Maybe there's just building on the scoping and planning things out over a period of time. Just always have a running list of the most crucial elements, your core, all the way down to nice to haves. And like as you make progress over time, evaluate where you are with your team or by yourself, and like I keep cutting. Like maybe 5 hours in, you're like, holy shit, I haven't made progress on these first three things at all. So let's not even think about doing the other stuff. Like it's keep cutting stuff and make sure you're attacking that list from top to bottom and not just embellishing it from things with things from the bottom that aren't as important.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And we'll also hear from Sohini. Sohini, do you have anything to share?
I think everyone covered most of it, but I would like to say that um, I think you should spend a lot of time on ideation, because you can come up with an idea and it can be just a one liner, and then you start working on it. And once you have the prototype, then you might not like it anymore and you don't have any time left to revert back. So I would say, like, focus on that core loop, focus on the ideation part before you get into making the game. I think that'll be a big help for you as well. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think we've heard a lot of pro tips from people, not just for the jam, but also some great advice to take on when you're building games outside the jam. And I think now is the time where, we've made people wait for quite a while now. So we wait. Should we
Yeah,
just reveal the themes?
yeah, sure. So, okay, so time is here. We'll just reveal the theme. Okay, so the themes for BYOG 2020 are,
Two.
theme number one is makes total sense. Okay, then we have one more theme. Theme number two is it's not supposed to do that. And then we have last theme, it does sound like me. So we have three themes this year: makes total sense, it's not supposed to do that, and it does sound like me.
Yeah. So
Yeah, over to
three
Chirag.
themes.
Some background behind
This
the
year,
themes, why these themes?
yeah, sure. So this year we wanted to do something different with themes. We thought we've, experimented with a lot of narrative themes. We've experimented with a lot of mechanical themes, and we've had people do a lot of good gameplay related stuff. And we thought maybe this time it makes sense to have some broader statements where it's up to you how well do you interpret them, and have these statements which might not even make sense or anything to do with games gameplay mechanics, but that's where you come in. That's where the creativity comes in. So feel free to, you don't have to use all three themes. It's up to you, either use one of them, you can use a combination of two of them, or even use all three together. As long as your submissions obey any one theme, uh, it should be an eligible submission for the BYOG Game Jam. So yeah, these three themes have no literal meaning behind the jam. It's how you interpret the meaning. So this year we are experimenting with this broader idea of, just general sentences and seeing what people come up with. And we are very excited to see what you guys come up with these themes, and you know what kind of submissions there are. So before we wrap up, we'd like to have some inputs from our jury here now. What do you guys think about this year's theme? Have you guys got any ideas already, or any general thoughts? Diptuman?
I think these are fantastic themes just because they're so open to interpretation, and I like themes that like you can interpret in whatever weird way you can think of. I don't have any ideas right now, which makes total sense because it's too early. But yeah,
Ishan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think as the Taman said, the themes make total sense, and it's great that they are so vague that I'm super excited to see what people think about it. Uh, like, I think go like crazy with it. Like that would be my suggestion. Just don't box yourself in. Think as much as you can, and then connect it how the theme would be. So you're at the end of the day, you're building a small experience after 2 days, which we will be able to play, and everyone else will be able to play. So think of that, have fun, and enjoy.
Awesome. Himanshu, Abhishek, do you guys want to add something? What do you guys think about the themes? Himanshu?
I think themes are great. They are very unique. It like they are so unique that all of like there's the little designer in all of us. They kept like thinking what we can come up with. So these are like very mind provoking themes. So I'm looking forward to play all the games now. Now I'm really more excited to see what people will come up and how they will use these themes, and if they can combine two of those or three of those, and what comes out of it. So yeah, really looking forward to play all the games. And good luck to all everyone, all the teams. Wish you all the best. And keep drinking water and keep
Yeah,
taking small breaks.
right. So you have the themes, and as Himanshu touched upon, even though it's a 48-hour game jam, take some rest. Don't lose out on sleep, and have water, food, all the necessities. So don't go crazy on us. We don't want any liabilities. So please make sure that you take good care of yourselves even for 48 days, and make the best use of this time. Make whatever you want to, and to repeat, use any one or a combination of all three, but make sure that your submissions have at least one theme, in it. So with that said, I think Vivek, now
Yeah.
it's the time we officially kick off the jam and let people do their thing.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah. So with this, we start the BYOG 2022. Everyone has 48 hours to submit their jam on our each page, and good luck to everyone. And at the closing moment, if any jury at the previous year winners want to add something,
Just submit a buggy game and say it's not supposed to do that.
yeah.
I'm super excited. Like, I just wanted to comment on the themes. I did
Yeah.
not expect it. It's like a riddle, and now as someone who's a jury as well, I feel like solving it. So it's already very exciting, and I hope everyone who's participating has a good time while doing this, and wishing you all the best.
Yeah, just looking forward to what people come up with because these ideas are wild. I've already got my juices flowing and I probably need to sleep a little before work, but I'm going to stay up thinking about what people are going to make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I love how abstract the themes are. Like same like as Abhishek said, like I'm just gonna come up with my own ideas and keep a list, and then like probably like I hated that I can't brainstorm it with someone. Like I wish we could also do that and like bounce off ideas, but I can't wait for like to see what comes out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone, the BYOG 2020 has officially started. And just to remind you, we have a prize pool of 7.5 lakhs. The winner gets 3 lakhs, the runner up gets 2 lakhs, and the third gets 1 lakh. And apart from that, we are also giving honorable mentions to two teams for 50,000 each. And this time we are also doing a public choice award, which like we are opening voting for to the general audience who are participating in the each page. You can also vote for the games and 50,000 cash prize for the public choice award as well. So good luck, and we'll see you in 48 hours. Everyone, for any queries during the jam, please be on our Discord server, Gamedev Discord, discord.gamedev.in, and you can check all the information on the BYOG.in page, and feel free to ping BYOG moderators during the jam. You'll find us available during the entire 48 hours on the Discord server. Good luck and thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks to the jury members and also the past winners for joining in. And we hope you're sure excited about the games. Good luck to all the participants, and we'll see you in 48 hours.